This is Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing. You are watching Sporting Icons. You don't need to be anywhere else.
Okay, so I've seen quite a few comments over the last 24 to 36 hours about an elbow that landed on Chris Eubank Jr., which put him down and put him on Queer Street. Now, I've seen the replay of the knockout a few times, but I never really noticed an elbow. I never really noticed it. But of course, there's pictures out there, and it does appear an elbow or forearm did land on Chris Eubank Jr. Now, we're going to talk about that bit in a second. Now, firstly, big up to Rob for sending me Roy Jones Jr.'s social media post on Instagram. And Roy Jones is responding to Eddie Hearn, where Eddie Hearn is saying how Chris Eubank Jr. has always had a great chin, a great engine, and all that kind of stuff. But what he's done with Roy Jones Jr. has taken away his assets. Basically, Roy Jones Jr. has stripped Eubank Jr. of all those assets and made him pretty much a clone of himself. Anyway, Roy Jones Jr. responds to Eddie Hearn with a picture of what looks like the forearm or elbow landing on Chris Eubank Jr. and says this: "Warning, all boxers, avoid Roy Jones Jr. as a trainer. Never mind this elbow, just avoid him. Damn, if I can take all that away from a fighter via training, no wonder I raised so much hell in my day." That almost sounds like godly qualities. And I'm nowhere near what God is, Eddie Hearn. So, Roy Jones Jr. and that statement, quite clearly he's very unhappy with Eddie Hearn's words, saying that pretty much Roy Jones Jr. is ruining whatever qualities Eubank Jr. has. Now, I noticed it, I know a few of you have, and I've been to Eubank Jr.'s last 2 fights, actually. One in Newcastle and one in Cardiff. And I certainly did notice that his fighting style is carbon copy of Roy Jones Jr. The loose shoulders, the arms down by the waist, bit showboating here and there. Now, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Because at the end of the day, if you look at it, Eubank, he needed some kind of change anyway. He did. He lost to Billy Joe Saunders and he lost to George Groves. He says how he wasn't listening to his dad's former trainer, Ronnie, and that. So I don't know if Roy Jones Jr. has done him good or if he's done him bad. I don't know. I really don't know. But really, when you look at it, Roy Jones Jr., how he used to fight was phenomenal. He was an enigma. He was. But that was his natural style. He would fight like that because that's what he's comfortable with. That's natural to him. It wasn't forced. That's how he was. So if Chris Eubank Jr. is going to fight the same way that Roy Jones Jr. did, then that's not natural to Chris Eubank Jr. So if he's sacrificing anything, maybe he has. I don't know. I really don't know. Personally, I think it's down to the fact that he just got caught. Down to the fact that he is, 32, 33 years old now, and making 160 pound middleweight might be a bit of a stretch for him now. It could be all that. It could be. But anyway, I suppose that's all down to opinion. But for Roy Jones Jr. to blame an elbow, listen, it could be. If the elbow did legitimately land, and that is the shot that put out Chris Eubank Jr., of course, you are going to look at that and go, what the hell? Because it wasn't a punch, it was bone that done it, right? Now, as far as the elbow is concerned, as I said, I've watched the replay. I haven't quite seen an elbow landing, but the pictures appear that it has. At the same time, okay, it's not within the rules, and you could argue this is one of those instances where VAR would be quite handy, wouldn't it? It would be. But at the same time, currently it's not. So you do have to suck it up and you can't change the result. It is what it is. Is the board going to reverse the decision? Make it a no contest? They ain't got the balls. Of course they wouldn't do that. Definitely not. But it is boxing. Yes, it's not within the rules, but it does happen, sometimes on purpose. People will hit opponents on the back of the head with the wrist of the glove. That's where the lace is tied up. It's got tape wrapped around it. It's hard, very hard. And fighters do hit each other on the back of the heads with the wrists. Okay? Look at Wilder's many knockouts, back of the head with the wrist. Okay? But with Liam Smith, and I know Liam Smith, he can play a little bit rough at times, and he will go in with the head and that at times, but I don't think that's something that he done intentionally. I think he did quite literally go to throw a hook/uppercut with a left, and it just kind of like happened to be that he missed with the fist and caught with a forearm or the elbow as it was. So I don't think Liam Smith did it on purpose. I don't. But there again, was that actually the shot that hurt Eubank? Was he already hurt at that point? I suppose it's open to your own interpretation of it, but I mean, for Roy Jones Jr. to blame that, listen, if that is the shot that done it, of course, it is something you're going to look at, it is something you're going to blame. But I'm sure it ain't the first time Eubank's been hit with an elbow or a forearm or the tape around the wrist or anything like that. I'm sure it ain't the first time. It happens to many fighters, and yeah, for sure, it does happen, and people have been knocked out from head clashes. You know, fights do get stopped with head clashes as well. So, anyway, as I said, I suppose it's open to interpretation. Drop your thoughts below. Click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you next video.